I always have this picture in my head that this idea, like the potential of Eismayer being a movie, was not like it wasn't coming out of me. It wasn't me who invented this whole thing. It was out there. It was an external, living, potential creature, and I see it as a wild horse, like running around,
Yeah.
and and by accident it just passed by me, and I saw it and I jumped on it and really held on to it, and it just took me, along the way, like wherever it wanted to go, and I was just trying to steer it a little bit, and it was like, and whoever joined the team was immediately also fascinated and also pretty much sure that this is going to be a good movie.
David, it's so great to meet you here on Zoom.
Yeah, it's thanks for having me.
You've done an amazing film. Congratulations. This is incredible.
Thank you so much. It's been a long journey, that's true.
Yeah, I can just imagine. And, I was thinking this morning, actually, I mean, it must have been an incredible journey to make the film, but then also it's a true story. So you've actually met the people behind the story.
Yes. For me, this was the basis of everything I did. That before I even started to write the script, I tried to get in touch with the real Charles Eismayer and his husband, because I knew that whatever kind of fictional story I would make about them, it would still be, a part of them, and they would have to agree in the end to have a film like this. And so this was the very first thing I did, that I got to know them, and I was talking to them a lot and listening to them even much more. And after I had the confirmation of, or the trust that that I could make a movie out of it, and still protect their integrity, then I started writing. And so for me, the whole creative source of everything I did in this movie came from real life people and real life events, based on experiences on so many people who have been to the army. Can be really bad experiences, or can be even good experiences for some people.
And you must, of course, have thought about keeping it real, in the sense that you have to respect also these careers and these soldiers and everything that they go through, that you have to be true to that as well.
Yes. I mean, if you make a movie is set in an environment that many people know, and that has really very strict rules to it, I think you owe it to the audience to make it authentic, because this is a one-time chance to experience how it is to be in the Austrian army for many people, right? So I could make something up now, and people would also believe it, but I could also try to get it as real as possible, which some people think I really did well. Some people were like, yeah, it's much worse even than this.
Really?
Other people said, no, it's not like this at all. It's not so hard anymore. So, like the opinions are very different on this. But I think like most of the people that served as soldiers in the Austrian army said that they really felt like in the times when they had to do their duty there.
But for a story like this, so you have to keep to the story. You want to keep it as real as possible, but then you have to add that storyline to it. So how difficult was that for you, or how did you manage to do it, that you kept to this realness of the story and the environment, but yet you had to put something else to make it this film?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's one thing to just create a world, that's authentic, or like where every detail is is as real as possible, but on the other hand, I'm also telling a fictional story, and this was the really tricky part of the movie for me, because when you do research, people start to tell you stuff, and I kind of tend to get addicted to information. So I'm digging deeper, and I'm listening to more people and more people and more people. And by the end of my research, I had so many different stories and so much information that for me it was really hard to filter, like, what do I actually take into my story, and what do I leave out, or what do I change to make it fit into a narrative. This was a process that was very tricky and very difficult for me. And I could never have done it on my own, because I'm not a trained writer. I'm a filmmaker, and I've studied directing. So, I got in touch with scripts, but I never had the chance to write a feature film script before. So now this was like a huge mountain of
Wow.
It was a huge challenge. And
I can imagine.
yeah, but I had help from so many people, right? I mean, I had a mentor, and he helped me through the process. I had a lot of friends and colleagues who wrote or who read my script or read my drafts and gave me feedback on everything. So basically, in the end, all I could do to really write the script was to let go of everything I know, actually, and just start writing. It sounds so easy, but this was actually the most difficult step and the biggest epiphany I had in the writing process, because I was trying to do everything right. So I started from scratch, and I started to start with 3 lines. What is the movie? And then make a synopsis out of it, and then make a treatment out of the synopsis, and then build a story structure, and then trying like an architect. I wanted to do it like an architect, so I have this kind of 10 steps I have to do, and then I have my finished script. But I never got into the treatment phase, actually, because I just could not decide what to put in there, and I didn't even. It was so much I had. It was not. It was like if you try to build a Lego house, but you have like a trillion of blocks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But you just need a house, right? It's not. You don't have to build the whole world. You just need a house. And so my mentor said, you know what? Forget the story structure. Forget like everything you're trying to build up now, and just start writing. And then actually this is really what I did. I really just sat down and was like, okay, like what can go wrong? Like I have nothing, so I can start from nothing. And I just, like sat there, and it took me a while. And then I was like, okay, the first scene has to start somewhere. So it's exterior, it's day. And, as soon as you write words like exterior or interior, you make a choice already. And as soon as you write day or night or dusk or dawn, you make a choice again. And then it's really like, it feels like a world popping up, like in the Bible, like in the beginning there was I don't know, it's in English, but there was a word or something like this. And then suddenly a world opens up, and then I can see people doing stuff, and I have images in my head, and so I started writing, and as soon as I got into this world, it felt like just writing down what I saw in my head, and
so
with all the backup info I had because of my research, there was a lot of detail also flowing into that kind of process.
But for this imagination to happen in your head, were you in the army yourself?
Yes,
have you been? Oh, you were.
Yeah,
okay.
I was.
So
I
you
was.
could.
And I didn't experience the Eismayer experience in the army, like not with him personally, but I heard a lot of stories about him from friends who had him, like they were in the army at the same time. And I had my own Eismayer. I mean, there's tons of people like him. I mean, not especially like him, but kind of like him. And so a lot of the emotion and feeling that has to do with the barracks and the whole drill is actually also came out of my body when I started writing. I started to remember because I didn't think of it like the last 20 years, and it came out again. Yeah.
Well, and also the way the film is shot, the whole the color almost for me, it's so authentic that it makes you feel as if you're there.
We try to be we try to not make effects out of it. I was talking to my camera person, Serafin. He's a great DOP. Um, and like we all saw this kind of 90s and 2000 war movies that have heavy color grading and everything's kind of blue or green and it's tough and there's a lot of contrast and everything like that. And we try to keep the colors very naturalistic, so that people don't have the feeling that it's kind of stylized or romanticized or something like this. Romanticized, I think it's
romanticized.
So because it's a feeling of its own, and it's even maybe it's even tougher if you don't feel like watching a movie so much. So we try to really focus on what is there, and we had the original locations. We're shooting on the original locations where Eismayer also worked, and these stories took place. So it would have been even, I don't know, it would have been a pity to not use it as it is, like to transform it somehow.
And I find that also part of the film, without you even realizing that part of the film, it has that realness. And for me, it was also this idea that I loved about it, that it wasn't so styled, that it felt, very authentic. But now, how initially did you get to the idea of this film? What made you write this specific story?
Yeah. Initially, I read a newspaper article about Eismayer getting married, or like, it's not getting married. Technically, it's just registering your partner, because getting married in Austria wasn't possible at that time for homosexual people. Yeah, I mean, like when you're a filmmaker, you're always looking for the next great idea, right?
Okay.
And often, for me, I'm getting inspired by podcasts or by things I read in the newspapers or hear on the radio. So that's my kind of sources. I mean, besides from stuff I realize or I experience in real life. And when I read the newspaper article, I got triggered on many levels because I was in the army. I heard about the Eismayer, and I never knew something about him being a homosexual man. And so this like opened up like a box, like of potential. Yeah. When I read the newspaper article, I really felt like, okay, this is probably gonna be a movie, and somebody will do it. And it would be cool if I would do it, but it was, for me, it was like, it's a nice idea, but it's way too big to be a film I make, and also it's way too big for a feature film, of course. I mean, for a debut feature film. So I put it in my drawer, like I was like, okay, yeah, maybe for like in 100 years or something like that. And then it took me 4 more years, and then I took it out of the drawer again, the idea, because I applied for scholarship in the script writing lab. And I researched, and nobody was working on a film about him.
Really?
So I was like, okay, then, I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I could just not do my first film, which I didn't do like my whole life. So yeah, and I applied with this idea, and they loved it, and then everything started to get rolling. You know.
But this is incredible if you think that it's an idea and it ended up being a film. So from the first idea, and you said 4 years before you really pursued it. So how long did it take to make this film?
I mean, if you take the 4 years where I didn't do anything,
Yeah,
and add it on top of the stuff I did actively, it was 8 years. But
wow.
to make the movie was actually a pretty quick process, even if it's 4 years of work. But you know, from really starting to write a script to finishing the cut, it's actually pretty quick in the film industry. I mean, it's for a cinema film, like a cinematic film. In TV, it's faster.
But this is your first film. Was it easy to sell the idea and to get people involved and to get the actors? Because you've got great actors in this film.
Yeah.
I mean, Gerard Liebmann is excellent in this role. I couldn't believe that he wasn't in the army. I thought he would have been, you know, that he drew from that experience, and he said he wasn't in the army.
Yeah. No, he's just very sensitive, and he knows how to soak in an atmosphere or a feeling, you know. So this was no problem for him. And to your question, that like, how did I get people to collaborate with me on this and all the money? I always have this picture in my head that this idea, like the potential of Eismayer being a movie, was not like, it wasn't coming out of me. You know, it wasn't me who invented this whole thing. It was out there. It was an external, living, potential creature, and I see it as a wild horse. You know, like running around, and by accident it just passed by me, and I saw it and I jumped on it and really held on to it, and it just took me, you know, along the way, like wherever it wanted to go, and I was just trying to steer it a little bit, and it was like and whoever joined the team was immediately also fascinated and also pretty much sure that this is going to be a good movie. Although there wasn't much there in the beginning, but you know, like it's like a snowball. It's like it gets bigger and bigger and bigger the more it rolls down the hill. And with this, it was the same. Like the idea of this being a film was in everybody's head. Everybody I was talking to was like, "Hey, this is a great idea. Can I, you know, like be part of this?" Or
amazing.
So yeah, I don't know. This idea was magnetic, I guess.
But I think also, since I've seen the film, I've thought about it so a lot. There's so many layers in this film, and that it's not just for me about this relationship, but it's really, well, not just the relationship between men, but it really represents relationships overall. This one person who is really confined or restricted in a way, and another person who lives freely, and that so many of us, we can relate in so many ways with these characters. Did you realize this when you wrote the film, that it would appeal to not just, say, a gay community, but that there's really a story that can appeal to everybody?
I don't know. It was not so much a conscious decision. I mean, for me, it was clear that it's a story about relationships and love, especially towards oneself. But I didn't plan on, you know, like doing it in a way that everybody, I don't know, can take something out of or so. But the thing is that I think if I am trying to understand all the characters in this story, and if I can be empathetic with them, so can the audience. and for me, this is one of the biggest and most important things when writing a story or when making a movie, that I really try to feel what I'm doing, and that I'm really okay with what's happening. And if this is the case, like if I'm writing characters and I'm not, like using them as puppets to like, like tell a story, and then I'm like, this is the bad guy and he's bad, yeah, and then you have to kill him and then he's dead and then everything's great, like, but these are all human beings, and if you treat your characters like this, I think it will transport more, and more people can take something out of it, because you can identify with this character, but you can also identify with this character, like, because everybody has reasons why he or she does what they do. And I mean, that's how I like to work, and yeah, I think maybe that's part of why you feel like this is also speaking to you,
Yeah. But you said also that the real Eismayer, Charles Eismayer, he enjoyed the film and he gave his consent or his approval of what you've done. Did this mean a lot to you as well?
Yeah, totally. I mean, this was my biggest fear, was that I get his approval in the beginning, and then I'm starting to write and direct and everything, and then he looks at it and he's like, that's horrible and that's not me, and like, I mean, he can dislike the movie, but if you would be like, this is total fantasy, and if I feel that I did not get it, like that I didn't caught the essence of what's going on, this would have been really bad for me. And it was not my intention to make a movie that makes him feel good. And at some points the movie makes him actually feel bad, but there is something to this movie and in this story that has a very transformative power and a very freeing kind of energy, and and a very loving energy. And this is also transporting, and this is also what he, I think, in the end liked about the movie, and why he can stand behind everything that he thinks is not, like in an advantage for him,
Yeah. Oh, but this must have been wonderful to get that from him.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Now I was really so happy when I saw like how he reacted when he saw the movie, because I had this feeling that, like I owed him so much, because he told me everything. Like, he told me so much about his life, very intimate things. He was very open. He was very honest with everything, all the bad stuff, all the good stuff. He was very, very honest. So I was so happy that like his honesty and his trust, that I didn't misuse it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I spoke to Gerhard Liebmann, he also said, and he wrote also, that films cannot necessarily change the world, but they can make a difference in the sense that they can make people see things in a different way. Do you think, as a filmmaker, that is quite a responsibility when you have a theme like this, for example, to make people see love in a different way, or to make people see different relationships in a different way, that it's almost that films are able to do that?
I mean, your questions, very beautiful answers. So yeah, totally. I think, as filmmakers, we are in a very, very privileged spot. Like, once you get the money from the state, like, which is tax money in Austria, then you have to give something back to the society, I think. And and going to a movie is a really, really good chance to experience something with your whole body out of the eyes of another person, actually.
Yeah.
So you can learn a lot. This is like virtual reality or something like this, but much, much more sophisticated, and in terms of the stories and the narratives that are transported. And so I think Gerhard Liebman is right when he says, like, movies don't change the world, but people change the world. So you have to start with the people. So
Yeah.
if you can make a movie that brings people to think differently, like open up their minds, open up their hearts, like getting a different perspective on something they have never seen like this before, it can change a lot, I think. And it is a great responsibility we have. And it's all we can do, like, I mean, you can go to politics, or you can be an activist, or you can be an artist, to change something. But in the end, it's the responsibility lies in the people that saw something or heard something, and they understood something. But then is the big question is, like, will they change? Like, will they change their own behavior, or is it just more comfortable to stay the way we are? Right? I mean, like, yeah, we have so many topics that really need us to change our behavior, um, to make it into a brighter future. And right now we have a lot of like issues and
Yeah.
challenges ahead, like right now in our world. And if we as filmmakers can tell stories, especially that lie in the future, that are not dystopian, and like where you feel helpless and you feel like, okay, if I want to prepare for the future, I need to get a water bottle and a gun, and then like maybe I can survive.
Yeah.
This would be great, but it's very. I mean, these are the big questions, like that the world leaders should tell us, like what do we have to do, and yeah, I don't know. But it's possible to like inspire people with movies,
Mhm.
and I hope that I can do that with Eismayer or future movies to come too. Yeah.
Well, I think definitely with Eismayer, you've done something incredible. And like I say, I think you can relate to it in so many ways. And it's really about love and relationships and so much more depth in this film. So really congratulations for
Thank you
that.
so much.
Yeah. But now what this was a good first film for you then. But what is next? What is the dream now still?
Yeah, the dream. That's an interesting question. I don't. Oh, my dream, because it was a dream to make a feature film and to bring it to the cinema. That was like a dream for me for 20 years almost now. And now that this has happened, I have to, yeah, maybe get a new dream. Um, right now, there's a lot of stuff happening because of Eismayer and the success of Eismayer. So there are people approaching me with projects and ideas, and like I try to cherry pick like everything that's interesting to me. But like my dream right now, I think I have to redefine it a little bit. I mean, of course, I want to make a second feature film for the cinema, um, but and I have an idea, but it's so early in the like in the process
Okay.
that I cannot really talk about it, because it's like a sapling, like, and if you
Oh yeah.
touch it,
Yeah.
like, you destroy it. So I have to let it grow a little bit more. I think I will do that over the summer. But I don't know, basically my dream is to live a good life, actually. So it has not to do so much with movies, but living a good life. And for me, like, my profession is being a storyteller, I guess, and using the visual media to do that. But I want to, like find a way of living that is more connected to nature again, because I live in the city now again. I already lived on the countryside and it was beautiful, but it's not compatible with my job right now. So I'm trying to, yeah, I want to have just a good life, like a healthy, good life with music, with people, with nature, with art, with a lot of love and communication, and yeah, something like that. I want to build up something like that, and also living in a community where other people can be part of this. This is like my big dream, actually.
Well, you tend to bring a lot of great people together. So I could see that in the film.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
So your dream will come true, to bring this all together. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
David, it was so great to talk to you. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this, and the lovely insight. And I hope, and I'm sure we will see a lot more of your great work in the future.
I will really try to do so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a great pleasure. Have a lovely afternoon.
Thanks. Yeah, you too.